Hi, I'm Gareth Spence and welcome to Tech Talk. In today's show, we're going to be exploring positioning, navigation and timing, or PNT for short, and the increasingly critical role it plays in every aspect of our lives. We're also going to be looking at how governments and other organizations are trying to protect PNT from cyber attacks and malicious interference. To help me with this, I'm joined by Andy Proctor from RethinkPNT and Gil Biran from Oscilloquartz. Andy, I'd like to start at the top. What is PNT and why does it matter?
Well, PNT is a term that's used to encompass data, and it's data that enables us to derive where we are with relation to something, in relation to the Earth, but also when we are. And that's important because that enables synchronization of equipment and synchronization of services, so that once we start to deploy infrastructure, once we start to need to guide and navigate our way around the world, we can use this data to do that.
PNT's resiliency has become a hot topic in recent months, from news reports on CNN to even featuring in Netflix movies. Why is it now more vulnerable than it appears to have been in the past?
It's actually not more vulnerable than it has been in the past, because the vulnerabilities of PNT have always been there. There are different vulnerabilities for different technologies. They've always been there. The reason why it's become a hot topic now is because of the proliferance of PNT within technology and within our daily lives. So our dependency on it has increased, which then means the vulnerabilities that exist penetrate much, much deeper into our daily lives and into the functions that we use every day.
So what do governments and other organizations need to do to make it more robust?
It's a very good question, and there's two ways to answer that. One is for governments. Governments really need to be thinking about critical infrastructure and encouraging those organizations that operate critical infrastructure to think of multiple types of PNT and not just rely on one source, for example, GPS. But organizations that operate CNI and use PNT, they need to be thinking of the risk they hold, because it's really a risk to the delivery of their own services. So business continuity and risk is really the area in which we need to be addressing PNT issues.
Gil, this is a good time to bring you into the conversation. How is Oscilloquartz helping governments and others develop assured PNT solutions?
Yeah, so first of all, as you know, we are this year 75 years in this business. So we collect a lot of know-how over the years. What we are providing is assured PNT technology, which is based on what is called in the industry zero trust architecture. This architecture is defined today originally by the Department of Homeland Security in the US, but these days also by IEEE 1952 standard. So what is zero trust architecture? In the old days, we used to be trusted on single source, meaning GPS. And if it's jam or spoof, then what you do? With zero trust architecture, you're not supposed to trust any source by itself. Instead of this, you collect many sources. It can be up to 10 different sources, and it can be a satellite-based geo, like a GPS. It can be STL-based, coming from LEO. Of course, it can be PTP or White Rabbit, which is high accuracy White Rabbit, and also it can be different type of cesium clock. So we are taking all of these sources, and by the way, we can provide different weight for different sources because the performance of the sources are not always the same. For example, with cesium, there is no dependency on any signal from the sky, so the reliability is much higher, so you can give it higher weight. GPS can be jam and spoof, so you should give it a lower weight. So what we are doing, we are implementing fusion function, where we are comparing all these sources and we measure the quality of them, and then we take all these valid sources and we combine them in what is called combiner function, and the output of this function is the best possible clock, which include, of course, phase and frequency, and time of day that allow us to take into consideration all possible source that a specific node has.
You mentioned there that Oscilloquartz has been in business for 75 years. Are other vendors able to compete with the expertise that you guys have?
So you will hear vendor claiming that they can, but now we have to dive into details. So first of all, as you understand by now, if someone wants to jam or spoof, they will do it. We can provide the detection function, but then what you do when it's happening? The only way to assure that the timing network will continue to perform is to use a source that is not dependent in any way on GNSS. And this is a cesium clock source. Now, over the years, we developed a very unique technology which named optical pumping technology. By the way, this is compared to the legacy cesium technology, which was called magnetic deflection technology. And this optical pumping technology allows us to provide a very unique product named optical cesium. I can tell you that there is no other vendor that owns such a technology that we have developed in-house. Why this is so critical for the market? Because with optical cesium, we can assure the performance of the timing lag coming from GPS and GNSS in general over a very long period of time. We can do it for approximately 3 months. And why it's so critical? Because today, network operators want to reduce the dependency in GNSS. So what they are looking for is a solution that allows them to run in a steady state condition without any signal from the satellite. And if we cannot run it forever, every few months, they will switch to a GPS source, and then they will switch back. If you can do it for 14 days, this is not applicable because it's too many changes. But if you can do it today for 3 months, and we are planning to do it even for much longer, this is a breakthrough technology that nobody else have, and this is what makes the difference between one PNT vendor and the other.
Gentlemen, that's fantastic. Thank you for talking to me today.